I'm not sure I see it like that. I see Archnemesis as adding a whole lot of unmanageable, unbalanceable crap to the game. Christmas just came early in the form of a Balance Manifesto. It's not very often we can say that. So, what's changed? Well, Archnemesis. It's going away. At least as we know it today. In fact, reading the manifesto, we are going back to what we had before, effectively. This is the biggest backpedal on Archnemesis I think we've seen, and it's really welcome news. What are they doing, and what is the problem they're trying to fix? Well, the problems were, mod names weren't fully descriptive of what they did. Mods often had multiple effects bundled, which make them harder to understand. Due to how many effects are included in a single mod, it could make the encounter far too complex. And the Archnemesis rewards, you almost felt with some of them, like Solari's Touch, that you should go and get a Magic Find character. So, how are they fixing it? Mods will now do one thing, which is the old system. Mods now say what they do instead of having a thematic name, which they're used to too. Encounters are simplified on average. Now this is the scary bit. We don't know how many of these individual mods we're now going to get. Players are no longer required to do annoying actions to maximise rewards. They have a whole new reward system planned, and we'll go into that in just a second. Basically, Magma Barrier used to do a lot of stuff. It used to put up a Magma Barrier, it converted monsters' physical damage to fire damage, it added some extra fire damage, it granted fire resistance, and gave physical damage reduction. Which is ridiculous, and how were you supposed to know that all that was happening? I certainly didn't. It also spawned those little balls that flew around and tried to kill you. We definitely knew it did that. The new equivalent modifier just puts a magma barrier around the monster. Much simpler, and you get that just by reading it. On the naming, we've sort of covered that in the last one, but basically Incendiary used to give you 6 different properties. They're now breaking those down to Ignites, or Fire and Ignite resistance, and for Deadeye, you're getting Applied Random Mark or extra crits. So all of the mods are being broken down into their own tiny little pools and put on monsters. Exactly how it worked before. The pool of mods that involve complex interactions like spawning volatiles or ground effects on death have been heavily diluted by the presence of the simpler mods. This means that you encounter more complex fights less frequently, but interesting and challenging emergent behaviour when overlapping mods can still happen. If they're breaking down Magma Barrier from its 6 parts into these 6 little parts, but yet they still expect you to have some complex fights, how many mods are we actually getting on a character? This is the scary bit, and we don't know that yet, and they haven't said. Players are no longer required to do annoying actions to maximise rewards. In Archnemesis, rewards were associated with individual mods. That meant that you could tell what kind of rewards you get in advance. Solari's Touched. In some cases, you were then effectively required to fetch a Magic Find culling character to make sure you maximise the value of the monster. I certainly didn't. In other cases, you just ignore the monster because you knew it was going to drop about 5 billion whetstones. So in the new system, they've added a significant pool of rewards to rares. Now, I don't know what rewards to rares means. Does that mean you're getting special rares? Or does that mean you've got more chance of getting a stronger rare? We just don't know. The reward you are going to get is going to be hidden on the monster, and it's not going to be associated with a specific mod. So you don't know what kind of reward you're going to get until you kill the monster, which is how it should be, really. And of course, rare monsters with more mods are likely to have these special hidden reward mods than monsters with just 1 or 2. So the idea behind the new reward system is it smooths out the spikiness that Archnemesis reward system had, which was basically you had like 3 different Archnemesis mods that dropped something cool, and the rest were just dire. The original motivation for developing Archnemesis was that the previous monster mod system was very out of date. Many of the mods didn't have any appreciable effect under modern balance, and there wasn't a lot of interesting gameplay possible. In our opinion, Archnemesis did succeed at adding a lot of interesting new mechanics to rares. I'm not sure I see it like that. I see Archnemesis as adding a whole lot of unmanageable, unbalanceable crap to the game that basically alienated new characters who didn't know what was going on and didn't know how to dodge attacks and things. Also, it created a lot of monsters that you just couldn't kill in less than an hour. That's not fun. It's dull as f***. And now getting back to the scary bit, while they're creating the new mods, they were careful to retain the most interesting of the mechanics that Archnemesis introduced. I hope those little silver tower, that monster mod thing, isn't one of them, because that was fucking awful. They go on to say that this is in a way that isn't a grab bag of loads of effects, and these are now diluted by many other simple modifiers. So, I don't know, how many mods are we going to get, and are they still keeping some complex mod mechanics which would go against this mods do one specific thing? It sounds like not, but it's kind of open to interpretation. And then they go on to say, this is kind of like the monster mods we used to have. Yeah. We spent 3 leagues of hell to return to what we had, but slightly beefed up. All in all, I think it's a massive step in the right direction. We're rolling back Archnemesis. I am so happy about that. It almost makes me feel like 3.20 is going to be good. Let me know what you think of the changes. Are you sad to see Archnemesis go in its current form, or are you as happy as Larry, just like me? I'd love your feedback. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.